Thank you. And also, if you can't hear me, just let me know. If I'm not coming across clearly, let me know, please. So let's start over again. Hello, everybody. Today is Saturday, August 14th, 2021. Welcome to our Contract Trust Conference Call. We are not accountants, tax professionals, lawyers, or currency dealers. We are not engaged in rendering legal, tax, accounting, or other professional advice. Should you require those services, you should retain competent advice from a professional in that field. Thank you for joining us today. We are Indicator Information Institute. My name is Carol Werelius, and my partner Jim Knox and I have these calls every second and fourth Saturday of the month. These calls are recorded and available on our website, www.indicatorinformation.com, iqdcalls.com, and YouTube. As we get closer and closer to our expected windfall, we thought this would be a good time to review our common law contract trust and why we think it's the best vehicle for you to protect your assets. As always, your questions are welcome. Star 6 to raise your hand. We will not be discussing the RV. You guys probably know as much or more than we do at this point in it. Over the years, we have found that people contemplating use of a trust have three big concerns: taxation, asset protection, and privacy. In some respects, they go hand in hand. While we make no claims about significantly reducing your income taxes, the use of our trust totally prevents inheritance and estate taxes, more commonly known as death taxes, thus protecting the assets. There is also nothing in the newspaper about you dying, well, maybe about you dying, but not whatever assets you may have, so your privacy is protected as well. So while we try to stay out of politics, something has recently come up that deserves attention. President Trump repealed the death tax in 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The president focused on the effect of farmers on reduction of regulatory burdens and changing the estate tax under the new tax law. Recently, Biden has proposed amending the inheritance tax, also known as the death tax. The farmers around the country are raising concerns about the plan. Under Biden's change, heirs would be forced to pay taxes on the depreciation of the assets. Now, this isn't just about farmers, obviously. So despite President Biden claiming that his tax changes would only affect those who fly their own jet planes and have 2 or 3 homes, it will not affect you. This will not be the case for people with appreciated assets, particularly older individuals who have owned assets for many years. The tax change is targeted at wealthy heirs receiving their parents' fortunes. Generational farmers, though, say the repeal of this provision will leave them with a hefty tax when their parents pass away and hand down the family farm. When it comes to passing down a family farm to a niece or nephew, the tax liability can result in selling the whole farm or a significant piece of the farm simply to pay off the tax bill. Enter the common law contract business trust. Bruce Ripley, one of my mentors, was very proud of the fact that during the time he and his former partner were promoting these trusts, they saved, in his words, countless family farms from the dreaded death tax. Losing a parent is hard enough to deal with, let alone facing the loss of the family farm to taxes. Those of us who have speculated on the revaluation of foreign currency are likely to pass on generational wealth for our own families. By exchanging your assets into the trust, you transfer the ownership of those assets to the trust. Thus, even after the death of the original exchangers / trustees, the value of those assets stays with the trust. Thus, no death taxes are incurred, the assets protected, everything is private and out of the public record. There are many different trusts being marketed today. Some obviously are better than others. Some were designed for a specific reason, like passing on a treasured family relic. Those trusts are great at spelling out who gets what and when they get it. Unfortunately, most of those trusts are revocable and likely to be included in one's estate of death. So there's not much asset protection there. The beauty of our irrevocable trust is that it provides superior privacy and asset protection while totally eliminating any possible I'm having a hard time this morning, possible death tax complications. The common law contract business trust also allows you to be your own trustee. You exchange your assets into the trust and you no longer own them. Who better to manage those assets than the former owner? You get to choose your spouse as second trustee if you like. You can name your adult children as successor trustees. Upon the death of the original trustees, the management of trust lies with the successor trustee. You died. We all will, but the trust does not. And by the way, folks, you must name a successor trustee when you're filling out your application. We will not complete a trust without a successor trustee. The trust has a limited life of 25 years but can be renewed every 25 years as then current trustees see fit. This type of trust has been used widely for the wealthy for hundreds of years. Most of us ordinary people were never let in on the secrets of maintaining wealth through the generations. I believe it was David Rockefeller who said that the secret of wealth is not ownership but management or control. Jim, as well as my late husband Jay and I, have always been proud to market such a valuable tool and bring it to everyday people. You can see how much how I feel about this. We aim to make it affordable and easy to use. Our members' website has a plethora of information on operating the trust. We do our best to keep you informed and to answer any questions you may have. Excuse me for getting emotional here, but anyway, Jim, what would you like to add?
Well, I understand your emotion. It is a situation here where people have not been taught anything about asset preservation or protection. The high schools, the colleges, they don't talk about this stuff. They don't want you to know. And I hate to say it, but it's almost like it's a conspiracy. They don't want you to know how to protect yourself. They want your assets going to the government so they can get them. So this whole system that Carol, Jay, and I and our mentors have passed on to us is all designed around what Carol was just talking about. It's about the family. Now, we got off on this thing a few years ago with the RV, but originally this trust was designed for exactly what Carol just read to you. This system here, I have looked at everything else out there. I have a lot of our competitors' trusts. People send them to me after they buy them. They're discussed with them. They give me a copy of them. There's nothing out there like this thing. There is absolutely nothing out there to compete with this. It's designed to do exactly what it says it's going to do. It's going to protect you. Your assets will be in trust. You'll be the trustee. You have control, but you don't have ownership. The issue on the ownership is if you own it, they can take it away from you. If you don't own it, they have to look towards the individual that does own it. Well, if it's an irrevocable trust and you're simply a trustee, they can't really take it away from you. So let's use an example. Let's say you're out and you have an automobile accident, and you're at fault, and the car you're driving is in a trust. Well, they can come after you, but they can't come after the trust because you were the one at fault, even though you're the trustee. As long as you have your home in a trust, your car in a trust, all your cars in separate trusts, all your property in separate trusts, they can only come after you. They can come after your income. That's it. They can't come after the rest of the assets because you do not own them. You control them, but you do not own them. These are irrevocable trusts. They can't pull the asset out of the trust to try and amend a lawsuit. So that's the unique thing about this trust. It's strong. It's very, very strong. And I've been with this trust now for going on 20-some-odd years, close to 30 between Carol. Well, Carol's been almost 30 years. I've been with this trust almost 30 years. So between the two of us, we got about 60 years experience with this thing.
Yeah.
And we've never been dragged into court. We've never had an issue. None of our clients that we know of has ever had an issue. And between the two of us, we've got well over 1,000 clients. And it's
and
just,
Jim Jenkins before that, another 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bruce, we have no idea how many he has. Bruce Ripley was my mentor. And but the interesting thing is Jenkins and Ripley both worked for the same company. And one went one direction, one went the other, and that's how I found Carol. I was doing a seminar up in her area, Seattle area, and the guy was at the seminar, and he says, "You ought to meet Jay and Carol. You got exactly the same thing they do." Really? I didn't think that was possible. I thought I had the only one. So I actually drove up to Carol's house and Jay's house without notice, just banged on the door, walked in, told them who I was, and We thought it'd be about a 10-minute meeting, and I think I got out around midnight that night. I unpacked half my Suburban, bringing all the stuff in, and we were comparing. We were just shocked that we were on the same page. And that's the beginning of our story.
We didn't realize, Jim, remember, we didn't realize that we had both learned under Bruce until many years later.
Yeah, well, one thing about the trust business is when you get involved, you don't talk about people. You don't talk about clients. You don't talk about vendors. You don't talk about anybody. And so I just never mentioned it. She never mentioned it. And then one day it came up. I just happened to mention this guy by the name of Bruce Ripley, and she goes, wait a minute. And that's when we started comparing notes. We found out that we both knew him and worked with him. And that was, 10 years after I met you, I think, before that ever came up.
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So you see, folks, this whole trust scenario is very, very unique. I don't know if anybody else in the United States is offering this type of a product. Now, remember, if you go to an attorney, they're going to try and give you some type of a revocable statutory controlled trust. Well, that's no good, especially now that we're going back to common law. So this trust is a common law trust. It does operate in numerous countries. Any country that's based in common law, all of the British Empire is common law. So any country like Canada, let's just name a few, Canada, England, Ireland, Scotland, some of the Central American countries were originally created and took over by the Brits. A lot of the islands down south of Florida is all common law. British Virgin Islands, used to be the Bahamas, they're all common law. So these things operate there flawlessly. So just keep that in mind. If you want to go international with your assets later on, that's how you would do it. In fact, I've set up a few trusts in the British Virgin Islands over the years. I used to have an associate office down there. And for years, I was working out of the Bahamas. Carol and I were working on that project together. And then when CARIBCOM came along, which was a law that stipulated that if an American wanted to have an international account every 90 days, they had to report that account and the contents thereof to the IRS. Well, all these countries said, no, the hell with that. That's too much work. So they shut them down. So we had an office in the Bahamas for many years. My ex-business partner, John Newell, and I, we used to go back and forth often. And when they closed it down in 98, I think. Yeah, 98. And we just had to fold up our business and move back to everything to American soil. It didn't hurt us. It just, we didn't have the opportunity to also do international business companies like we were doing in conjunction with the trust that we have. I'm kind of rambling here, Carol. You want to take over for a second?
No, I think you're doing a good job. A little bit of history.
It's important. History is important.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But no, I mean, the whole reason. I mean, this call is a little bit different than a lot of our other calls, and the whole reason is just to bring home what the whole trust is about. It is about preserving assets. It is about preserving generational wealth. It is about protecting your assets from anybody that's trying to come after you personally. Guys, and those of you who are on this call, most of you are clients anyway. We do a good job of it. As Jim said, in all these years and all these clients, to our knowledge, nobody has ever had an issue. So we're very, very proud of that. But we're open to Q&A if anybody would like to raise their hand. And it looks like I do have a call here from Arizona without a name. Hang on a second. Safford, Arizona. You have a question?
Hello, this is Christine. I got a new phone. I still have the other phone, but my other phone won't let me have the minutes for this call.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so a few things. I hope I can remember what it was. I think it was from 2 weeks ago. I wrote them down. But number one, can I minute myself out accidentally? Like, say I put my son and my daughter in. Do they have like 2/3 to minute me out?
No. No.
And why not?
Okay, so if you had, the trust originally had 100 certificates,
Right.
And if you're a single trustee, you got two 50-unit certificates. Now, the successor trustees will get those units upon your demise or upon the time that you can't function anymore to manage the trust. In the interim, you can bring on another trustee just to work for you. They don't have to have any certificates of beneficial interests. And so you control it. So the person that has the control over the trust is the ones that's the certificates of beneficial interest. Now, these are not like stock certificates. You can't trade them, you can't sell them, you can't buy them. They are designed just for the trust. And all they do is allow the person or the individual, I don't like using the word person, the individuals who had created the trust, if the trust should ever decide to make a disbursement of the assets or the cash or however, it would go to the certificates of beneficial interest holders. That's all it would go to. Now, you can make a disbursement to other people, but that's going to be quite taxable to them. So, no, you're good. As long as you don't give away any of the certificates of beneficial interest, you have 100% control.
Perfect. And then that was on the list, the search, so that's perfect. Okay, the next one is, I don't want anyone to know in the mother lode. Now, at the time of exchange and redemption, of course, they will know. But there I have a management trust. It's obvious where the money is coming from. Do I need a exchange account in between so that they can't go back to and know my original mother lode trust?
No, you don't need one. Here's how it happens, is all the money that's moved into other trusts is because the management trust was the investor in the new trust, which had to fund that trust. In other words, if you wanted to buy $1 million house, let's use a $500,000 house. You wanted to buy a $500,000 house. Your mother lode trust would be the investor, just like you were the investor in the original trust. It would be the investor. Now, how you would sign for that, you'd put the management or the mother lode trust name in there, and then you'd say your name as trustee and not as otherwise. So you're signing as a trustee for that investment. All right. So now that money needs to be transferred from the mother lode trust to the real estate trust. So it transfers. The investment would be $500,000 plus probably put another $300,000 or $400,000 in there for upgrades, maintenance, taxes, well, all the utilities, everything could be placed in there. So the initial investment would be $800,000 or $500,000 house. The issue is if you don't have an EI number for that real estate trust, which we encourage you not to have, we encourage you to have the management trust. The money is actually owned by the new real estate trust, but it's placed on behalf of the real estate trust in the management trust. One-time chunk of change. So the contract goes from investment trust, your mother lode trust through the investment procedure into the real estate trust, but it's deposited on behalf of the real estate trust into the management trust. That's the only connection you'd ever see. So they do not
see the name of the mother lode?
Well, who's going to see it? It's just you. Who's going to see it? The real estate trust, you can hire a president, as we've talked about many times, and you can hire an individual to go sign so your name doesn't show up when the deed is transferred on the quitclaim. The only people who will know about this is you. The banker won't know.
Well, your bank account records. I show my bank account records as a sole proprietor every once in a while.
Yeah, but the only people that's going to see this is the one-time shot when you move the money. And it's probably going to be done by the team that you're working with post-RV. That's going to be your financial advisors. They're the only ones that are going to know. They're going to have to know what you're doing to advise you. And they're going to do it, and they're the only ones that would know about it. It could be Abbott Downing, for example, if you're using Wells Fargo. And you can make sure that you tell everybody none of these transactions show up on the screen with all the tellers. It's not for training purposes. You can block that. And then you can even go to the extreme where if you say, okay, any money transferred from my mother-in-law trust, at any time, I physically have to go to, for example, Abbott Downing, and physically go in there and have them transfer the money. I don't want to do it on the internet. I don't want to do it through the bank. I got to go there and do it, and that's what we advise. So there's nobody going to know about this stuff but you and your advisors, and they're under a non-disclosure agreement. If they don't have one that they presented to you, you better create one and hand it to them.
Right.
So there's really no issue here as far as anybody knowing what you're doing. Nobody knows. It's private. Your trust is not recorded anywhere. It's not like a state document. It's like a corporation. We have to go tell the state everything you're doing and to file a report every year. We don't do that. So
That's
it's just
true.
you. It's just you. That's it.
Okay.
Does that help?
And one more, yeah. I mean, we're all nervous about how this is going to go, right? But it's definitely just one of my things. I don't want anybody else to know, how much is there.
Well,
and the last one.
Let me interrupt you. Nobody should know except the person you gave the currency to for the exchange.
Right.
That's the only person that would know. And they're on a non-disclosure, and you're going to sign a non-disclosure with there. They can't talk about you. You can't talk about them. That's it. Nobody will know. If anybody finds out, somebody's broke a law, and you can hold them accountable.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
once the horse is out.
Yeah. Christine, can I interject? I have a question for you, Christine. You mentioned your children. Are they co-trustees or successor trustees?
I'm not sure. But they're also beneficiaries. I don't know if they're trustees. I think they're just beneficiaries at this point.
Well, okay.
Then they won't know anything.
Yeah.
Right. I probably won't have them be trustees because they're, I don't know what you say, but they're liberals, so they'll probably never be a trustee.
Okay, so unfortunately, if they're the successors upon your demise, they are the trustees.
Right, right.
After you go, you don't give a blank anyway, right?
Well, no, I might have a different trustee that comes up somehow, before that.
You can always get another trustee. You can change successor trustees anytime you want. Simply just do a minute.
Right. But, you really have to know when you do that, because the one person that I have found, I do accounting and bookkeeping, that ends up ripping you off is the one that you trusted the most.
Yeah.
That is like the majority because they have access.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been down that road a couple times.
Yeah. Okay, so the last one is
Go ahead.
So the last one is for each of the trusts I set up, such as the management trust and the real estate trust, do I get those certificates and do I need another one, $21 silver thing?
Yeah. Okay, here's how this works. The certificates of beneficial interest, since the mother-in-law trust is the investor, the certificates go to the mother-in-law trust. You were an investor on your mother-in-law trust, so you got the certificates. In this case, the mother-in-law trust is the investor. So it gets the certificate, so nobody else can get them but it. Same with the management trust, because the management trust is going to be created by the mother-in-law trust. So it has the certificates over there. So nobody can get in there and take and have any claim to it. No claim of ownership, only the mother-in-law trust. And you're the trustee of the mother-in-law trust. You're also going to be the trustee because they're going to hire you. Go ahead.
So am I the creator of the management trust and the real estate trust?
Yes, you can be, because the investor is going to be the mother-in-law trust. So nobody gets to see the documents but you.
Okay. And do I need to get that $21 silver cert thing?
Yes. Yes, you do, because the Constitution guarantees you the right to contract any debt over $20. So therefore, I come up with 21. Most of the attorneys go $10 another consideration. That doesn't work for me.
So if I own 1,000 properties and 1,000 trusts, do you think 1,000 silver certificates will be available? They seemed a little hard to find.
They're getting harder all the time. But remember, we're going to go back to common law shortly with a currency that is going to be a common law quantum currency. In fact, it won't be currency anymore. It'll be actually money. The Constitution says the only thing that can be money is gold and silver. So once we're back to 100% gold and silver based system, then you don't have to worry about this. Just use the $21 of whatever the currency, I hate using that word, the currency will be at that time, as long as it's backed by gold and silver.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
You bet. Carol, before you bring on somebody else, I want to add something to that.
Sure, go ahead.
So the 21 lawful dollars, all right, it doesn't say 21 lawful currencies. It says dollars. It doesn't say Federal Reserve notes. It says dollars. And so the reason we use the silver certificates is by law, you should be able to go into the bank because they're a piece of paper that says that they have a dollar, a silver dollar, $1 worth of silver at the depository that you should be able to claim. Now, there's a procedure to do that, but it's very convoluted and it's a little bit dangerous. So don't do that. Don't ask them for it. So the 21 lawful dollars that we try to get you to buy are these silver certificates. You buy them in the numismatic coin stores, and you want to get the face value of 21. It could be a $20 bill and a $1 bill. Buy the junkiest ones you can get, even the torn ones or maybe a corner missing. Doesn't matter. You're going to put them in an envelope, seal the envelope, and attach the envelope to a specific page in the trust. It stays with the trust forever. If you ever get dragged into court, have the judge open it and say, Your Honor, I try to comply completely with the Constitution. There are 21 silver dollar certificates right there. That's the only reason we do this, because it'll keep you out of statutory law, more into common law. And if you use the instruments we're talking about, it shows that you did your best due diligence and your best effort to put 21 lawful dollars as part of the exchange. Carol?
Makes sense. I mean, I totally agree. We don't have anybody else with a hand up at the moment. So, anything else you want to talk about?
You can always find something to talk about. So, one of the things I'm trying to do right now is I'm probably going to change quite a bit on the website. We're having some issues. It all works, folks. It works. But it's not rendering stuff the way I want it to. And this last update we just went through about 4 days ago, some of the things I'm trying to get to render the way I want it to is not working well. So I may have to make some minor changes. So if in the next week or so you get in there and you go to certain pages and it says not available, don't freak out. It means I'm working on it. And so I'm going to have to do some research this weekend and figure out how to fix this little update that they just allowed to be installed. It's not a big deal. It should be transparent to everybody using the website, but if you do run across a page that's not available, just give me a day or so and I'll get it back available. I'm trying to figure out how to fix this thing. And for those of you who don't know, I'm the guy that created all these websites. So besides playing with the trust, I play with websites. Not commercially anymore. I don't do that for other people, just us.
And you don't really have time to do it for other people anymore.
No, I'm too busy just trying to maintain a life in Oregon. I love it when I listen to X22 often, and I've even sent him text and even sent him an email one time, and it says it's pronounced O-R-Y-G-U-N, Oregon, not Oregon. Oregon's a gas.
That's right.
Oregon and Oregon are two different types of gases. Yeah. So, he hasn't figured it out yet.
Okay, well, we do have a few questions now, so let's go to Jim in Asheville.
Yes, ma'am. Good to hear your voices again. I have a question regarding some definition of words that are used in our trust. if you would compare and contrast and maybe give some advantages or disadvantages of these words. Grantor versus non-grantor, and complex versus, I'm assuming, simple would be the opposite.
Okay.
Jim, you want to take that? You go ahead.
Well, I'm not exactly sure the difference of the definition of common law to statutory law on how they would play together. The reason the grantor is in there is because the IRS, when the case was adjudicated back in 1983-84 against the Internal Revenue Service, that was the issue. The issue was a grantor. Can the grantor be the trustee? And the IRS says no. Well, guess what? They can't. And we got the Ninth Circuit, and the IRS lost. They said, well, we're going to remand it to the Supreme Court. Well, what happened is 3 justices reviewed it, says it stands as it is, and remanded it back to the Supreme Court, and that was that. So they had to change the rules in the IRS. So you can be the grantor, investor, or trustee. So they had to leave grantor in there, because when we get the EI number, that comes up. You have to use the word grantor because that's what statutory uses, but they also have trustee and beneficiary and a few other words in there. So the trust has the word grantor only because that was an agreement, predominantly an agreement, that worked for both the IRS and the creators, the attorneys that created this trust. And by the way, this trust was created by attorneys, but they had a mandate, and the mandate was no legalese in here. I want common English. And so they finally took months to finally get all the legalese out of it, and it's what you have. So that's on the grantor. What was the other word, Jim?
Well, the non-grantor, this is a non-grantor trust, correct?
By IRS definition,
yeah.
It is non-grantor
Okay.
trust. But when you get the EI number, it doesn't say non-grantor, it says grantor. I know that's a trouble, but remember, the EI is only for banking purposes. And again, there's 3 places where things are notarized. The trust is not notarized, just the names. The notarization is verifying that these people were truly there, and he proved they proved to him, the notary or her, that they were the people they said they were. That's what's notarized, not the trust, just the
Got
names.
it. Yes.
Okay, so what was I lost myself on my own thoughts. I hate it when they do.
Okay, so we say that this is a non-grantor trust. What is it that we have done that makes it a non-grantor trust? Do we just because we said it?
Jim,
No,
can I take this?
Absolutely, Carol.
Okay, just to make it easy, typically grantor means gifter. Non-grantor is a non-gift. Assets go into this trust not by gift, not by sale, but by exchange. So you are not the grantor because nothing has been granted. So that is why it's called a non-grantor trust, because the assets get into the trust by exchange. Does that make a little more sense to you?
Yes, that helps.
You're good. Okay, and your other question was complex or simple?
Yeah. What's the advantage of the complex versus, I guess, the simple?
Oh, well, complex doesn't necessarily mean it's complicated. It is.
Okay.
It does refer to the way the IRS treats this trust, meaning
Okay.
at the end of the year, like an LLC has to disperse all of its earnings at the end of the year. The trust does not, because it's a complex trust. So it can disperse part of its assets. It can save part of its assets within the trust. It is basically just an IRS term. It's a complex trust.
Okay. All right.
Does that make sense?
Very
Got
good. Well, thank you. Got it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
I guess I'll have to keep you around, Carol. You're pretty good at this stuff.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, Wayne, you're up next. I haven't heard from you in a while, Wayne. What's up?
How are y'all doing?
Oh, doing fine.
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. Well, I'm actually good. Jim already answered my question. I'm good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. The next one we have is Alfred. 360, area code 360, Alfred.
Yeah, this is Allie.
Hi, Allie.
Hi, yeah, I'm at my parents' house in Washington, but I'm from Beaverton.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Jim. This is Allie. Anyway, I have a question a little bit off the subject. I was wondering, could I give out my email address, or I give it to you and people call in, and whoever might want to find out about all the projects that everybody involved in this is in. For instance, if somebody wanted an apartment complex for disabled vets or missionaries in Africa or whatever, if people could just call each other and find out what projects everybody's in and see if maybe a group of us might want to get involved together, or one person in something that's already going. Could I give my email address and we kind of start something like that?
If
I don't have a
you would
problem
like
with
to.
that.
I think you need to find a different platform. Also, you could do I don't do social media, but you could do some type of a Facebook deal. Facebook's not going to be around much longer from what I hear, but you can start something there. But, yeah, you can give out your email address if you want.
Okay. All right. It's ALPO, P as in Paul, Alpo, kind of a silly address. But anyway, alpo4948@gmail.com.
And that is for collaborating on ideas for projects?
For projects, yeah. If we all want to group together or hear about somebody else's, and I say, yeah, I'd like to give some to that, or let's get a group together and combine it and build a complex for vets or something. Whatever, all kinds of charitable projects out there.
Yeah, I agree with Jim that you probably need a better venue than this, but you might try Telegram. There's a lot of different people on Telegram that might be interested in posting something like that.
Yeah, that's true, but I was kind of thinking, the Dinar group that's in this trust situation would be kind of a good place to start.
Well, you did it. You got your name out there.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome, Ellie. Take care. Good luck.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Come on, somebody else want to raise your hand? Okay. I guess not at the moment. But, Allie brings up an important subject, because we have been told that, a lot of our efforts have to go to humanitarian needs, and we all started out with this. We were looking at very small numbers. And I guess what we're looking at now are much larger numbers, hence the reason for the humanitarian needs. So anybody that is looking in that direction, there's a lot of places to go. Allie, I like your idea of, talking to people within our trust group. So I think that's fine. If anybody wants to give her a call or give her an email, I'm sure she'd be delighted to help you out. Jim, you got anything?
Well, I'm going to thunk this through with you, and you can veto it even live. Doesn't matter. But, we do have that mailing list that goes out on all these calls, and we've never, ever done anything other than the calls, advertising that we have a call coming up. But Allie's idea is pretty good. We might want to add a paragraph on the next one saying, here's this email address, and this individual take it upon themselves to try and help everybody get together on trying to find what projects and how they can commingle their projects together to make one big project. We'll have to think about that. We might be able to do that without causing too much grief to anybody.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. If we have that availability, why not?
Yeah, I don't want to send one out until the next one, because then that's just violating what we're doing. But if we added maybe a small paragraph, I'll get with Allie. I got her phone number here. And I'll get with her later, and we'll see what we can put together. That's a great idea. I just
it really is.
We just don't like getting involved in discussing the RV stuff, because this whole thing was not designed for that. We just kind of morphed into it. We got away from our primary function, which was just doing asset preservation mechanisms. But, and besides, I got so fed up with this stuff, I don't even receive any emails from anybody anymore, nor texts. I blocked them all. It's just driving me crazy. Listening to all these people and all the stories they tell. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be for sure on Wednesday. Yeah, I didn't say what Wednesday.
Yes. By the end of the month. Well, they didn't say which month and which year.
That's right. Or even which century lately.
Yeah, well, that's true at this point. Let's see. I have Dean, I'm going to ask you a question directly. There you are, Dean. So we just talked a little bit about funding the management trust to fund the real estate trust, but in your case, it's directly from the mother load to the real estate trust. Did we sort of answer your question, or do you want to expand on it? Dean? Oh, Dean, you must have muted yourself. Star 6. No, maybe not.
Hello?
In any event, there you are. Hi, Dean.
Carol?
Yes. Yes, Dean.
Well, I can just barely hear with it. my phone is just not giving me clear stuff, but I wanted to, of course, put the money directly in the motherlode trust, and then, of course, take it out to the other trust. And at the time, whenever this RV happens, I want to, of course, form my marketing trust, So this is all. But the main thing I'm concerned with is where to put the money immediately, and that would be in the motherlode trust, right?
Absolutely, yes. So all these other trusts can be spun off, if you will, from the motherlode trust, but the initial one where all the money is, and nobody ever seems to you don't want anybody to know about this one except your advisors, as Jim mentioned. That is all going to go into the motherlode trust. And all these other trusts will be funded usually through contracts. And we are still working on those contracts, even though we promised them a long time ago. We are still working on them. Does that help? Dean, does that help?
I'm sorry, but I can just barely hear parts of it. And I'm hearing what you're saying about it's going in the motherlode trust. But now, as far as starting up this marketing trust or the management trust, I need to fill out the deal there and send in also the other trust that I want to form. Just send them both in, and with the amount of money, right?
Yes, on our application on 3iTrustApp.com, we have applications for management trust and real estate trust, etc. When you fill in that application, there's a space at the bottom that asks for your credit card information. So that'll take care of all of that. Obviously, you cannot do this until we have the RV. So once the RV has occurred, then that's what we're going to do. But I already have your application. We already have your real estate trust done. So that's not something you need to worry about at the moment. Okay?
I think I heard you say you already have my application, right?
No, we've already taken care of your real estate trust. And I do have an application and a check sitting on my desk in Oklahoma, yes.
Okay, well, as far as sending that to you, when I fill that out, how do I get it to you? I can't have it printed out and fill it out. I fill it out on the computer and then send it.
Yes, it's all online. As soon as you hit submit, we get it immediately. You don't have to print it. You don't have to send it. Just hit submit.
Okay. Now I've got
Dean, this is
I've
Jim.
got a minute.
Dean, hold on. You know, you're having a tough time hearing us. Remember, this call is going to be recorded, be on the internet here in just an hour or so after. You can go back and listen to this thing so you get better information. I know you're having a tough time hearing it. So just remember, you can go listen to it within about an hour after we are done today. I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to click you off, Dean, and we can talk later. There we go. Okay, right. We do have another caller, Joe in Hawaii. Haven't spoke to you in a while, Joe.
Aloha. Can you hear me?
Hi, we can hardly hear you.
Oh, okay, 1 minute. Is this better?
Much better,
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good. This is for Jim. Jim, I spoke to you, I think, about a week or so ago. My girlfriend didn't want to sign the management trust.
Right.
And you said we would get together and work on it.
You never gave me another name, so that's why we didn't go further. I need a new name. Don't give it to me over the phone. I mean, not now.
No, I won't.
But I was waiting for you to get back.
I'll call you on that. I'll call you back on that, okay?
Call me after this
great.
call if you would. That way I've got the rest of the afternoon to myself.
Sure enough. I appreciate that. Thank you ever so much.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Okay. No hams today, Jim. Pretty light. Let's see.
Well, that's okay. It's going to be hot here. I'm in Oregon, Salem, Oregon, and it's going to be close to 100 again today. It was 102 yesterday. And it was cloudy this morning. So I thought, well, maybe it won't get that hot. And all of a sudden the clouds burned off, and now the sun's beating down on my window. And I'm sitting in front of my window. I have the blinds pulled, and my computer's sitting here, and I can feel the heat radiating through that.
Oh, my. It's hotter in Oregon than it is in Florida. Go figure.
Well, yeah, we had 117 degrees here in Salem, which is an all-time record for Oregon. A little over a month and a half ago. I mean, it's just the weather I've just heard about in Tucson, Arizona. It was not fun. I have friends and family in Tucson.
Oh, yeah, Gary just said the same thing. And Gary and Norma as well. They're both in the Phoenix area.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of strange things going on this planet right now, and I don't think they're Mother Nature. I think they're being manipulated. I think it's really annoying Mother Nature to no end to have us manipulate things, and she's probably going to retaliate.
Oh, well, yeah, probably. Anyway, nobody is raising their hand, and it's about 10 minutes of the hour. You just want to have an early day?
I have a lot of things to do today, so that would work for me.
Okay, that works for me as well. Oh, so anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. And as always, we appreciate your time and attention. My name is Carol Werelius. My number is 877-333-5018. I'm available between 10 and 6 Eastern Time. The best way to reach me is by email, info@indicatorinformation.com. Jim, would you like to give your contact information?
Sure. My name is Jim Knox, K-N-O-X, the original Jim. We'll get this confused.
The one and only.
Yeah, the one and only. Got that. And my number is 866-341-6907. The best email I'm available from 9 a.m. West Coast time to 6 p.m. West Coast time, Monday through Friday. And the best way to reach me is by email. It's security@indicatorinformation.com. Carol?
Okay. Well, have a happy and safe weekend, everybody, and go RV. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.